Welcome to the KidCorps Show!
I joined KidCorps because I needed a work-study job and I wanted to teach eventually.
It seemed like something I would be interested in because I really love kids, and working with kids has always been
Because
something
I had
I'm
work study
passionate about.
and I enjoyed working with kids, so I decided I would see what it was up. And it was a lot different than I thought it was going to be, but it's still tons of fun. It was cool working with a team and doing fun activities with kids and just teaching them different things. And it was really cool going to hospital and reading to kids.
It makes me
just
happy.
having fun.
And I first joined because I was like, this would be a fun job, but it's a lot harder and I think a lot more rewarding than I first thought it would be, because look at
I
our kids.
had been
they're
wanting to
adorable.
join the KidCorps after college, and AmeriCorps really just tied perfectly into that, and it was just totally like a coincidence that this just happened to fall into my inbox. So I applied like that same day, and I got in, and
That's just
it's
a
been
great
amazing.
opportunity. Like, that looks good on your resume, and you get to volunteer, reach out, and help out. And
I
really
do it because I love watching kids grow, and I think, you know, when I first started the program at first, I really didn't know what it was going to mean to me at all. But I mean, over just 2 quarters, like, I just felt like it's become so much more than a job. It's become something I really enjoy doing, and I love watching kids grow, especially when they're at school. So yeah, it's been
I know in the future I really want to work with kids. Even though my major is criminology, I want to integrate youth and helping them in the community to stay away from violence. And I thought that this would be a great
The reason I'm in
opportunity to do
KidCorps is
so.
because I love kids. My mom always said that eventually I'd end up
You get to
being a
volunteer,
teacher
which
someday.
is a way to give back to the community that's given so much to you.
I feel like I've contributed to this community because I'm helping these kids, and when you walk into that classroom, all of the kids' faces light up and they run to hug you because they're so happy to see you, and being able to see what kind of an impact we have on these kids just through their reactions to us walking in the room is just amazing.
And just reaching out to the community, helping out, like teaching them to read, helping them with their math, because I also volunteer at the
My
Dow
contribution
Center.
to my community would definitely be through the volunteering with KidCorps as well as with the AmeriCorps volunteering. I get to go to an elementary school in the afternoons to work with an after-school program to help kids with their math and reading
And we're
skills.
really working hard to make sure that they get these basic skills before they go into kindergarten and first grade and everything. Foundation is really important, and that's definitely what
You're
we're
able
working
to
on.
help them academically, to be better at school, help them with homework for the after-school program at this other center I work for. That's what we do. We help with homework, and we just get involved with them, participate, play with them in the gym. Even the smallest things, they really appreciate.
I feel like we really do impact the kids' lives. Like, just by being there, you can see how excited they are to see us, and they tell us about their days. They're just excited to show us everything they've learned. And when I first started, like in first quarter, I felt like we weren't really making a difference because I felt like I didn't see any improvement in the children. But just this past 2 weeks ago, I think, the kids were like, they recited a whole book and they learned the words to the book in a day, and that's it. And they recited the whole book to us. So I feel like we really are doing something. We're helping them with their literacy and their reading, and I feel like we really are making a difference in their lives. So KidCorps is great.
And the Lead the Way program was very different experience for me because the kids that I worked with were all like handicapped in some sort of way, and working with them, it was like challenging in some ways because some of these kids, like they were high school kids that like couldn't read, or we had to like read their like directions and help them a lot. Like, and that really, I think that for the most part, like really gave me a new outlook on how like education really works, because like I think people take for granted like the simple things that like we're born with.
Those are high school students. We tutored high school students that were at risk of dropping out or not graduating high school, and they didn't really want our help sometimes. I can't lie, but I feel like we helped them anyway.
I mean,
Some of them
sometimes
just were like a little afraid to,
frustrating.
yeah, some of them are a little afraid to ask for help, didn't want to admit that they needed help, and I think they appreciate the fact that someone their age that didn't mind helping them.
One of my favorite experiences actually in Reach Out and Read was with a 7-year-old Hispanic girl, and she was helping me to actually read a book. It's called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, and that's a really popular English book, and so I was kind of familiar with it, and so we were reading along in Spanish, and I helped her to pronounce the words, and she would actually help me with the pronunciation or with the translation. So it's just a really great experience for her because she actually helped me to learn something at the same time that I was trying to teach her. So, and that's just really what KidCorps is all about, is giving back to the people who give you something in return. So it's been a really great experience.
Okay, so there's a little girl this last year. Her name was Jayla. She didn't know how to spell her name. She didn't know her name, period. Besides the fact that, like, if you call her, like, hey, Jayla, come here, she knew that. But so we started working with letters and letter recognition. And so after a while, like, she will always go around anytime there's a J or something with an activity. Jay, that's me.
A great story is at the Dow Center, me and some other red shirts would teach them foreign languages. So my job was to teach them Japanese, and we would teach them konnichiwa and how to count and add. And then when we would come in the next week, they'll all say konnichiwa, like all of them running around playing. But then when they see us, they yell konnichiwa down the hall. And it's just, they kept what we learned, and that was just really uplifting.
One of the great things that I've enjoyed so far with KidCorps is that since I started last year, I was able to work at a few different preschools, helping kids learn to read and write their names and gain general literacy skills. And one of those kids is now at the elementary school where I volunteer, and she is the best in her class with reading, which is pretty fantastic for being able to get
My favorite activity that we did was the science day. We did, Heather decided that a volcano would be a good idea, and it was in fact a great idea. The kids were going crazy for this volcano. We had used it as like a tool to get them to behave because they had been really rowdy the last week, and so we promised them a volcano if they could, control themselves, and they did. And they thought it was the coolest thing they'd ever seen in their lives. It was awesome. It was just
when you enter the classroom in the fall, the child doesn't know any of his numbers, no shapes, letters, or colors. And by the end of the year, you get to see how much the child has grown, how much they've learned, how much you have contributed to their lives. They know numbers, shapes, colors, facts about the world, things that you would never have known that they took in until you talk to them at the end of the year.
We have a set of twins in our room this year, and one of the girls has been ahead of her sister all year in terms of how much she knows about literacy. And I just like watching the two of them help each other. Like, they clearly, sometimes even the teachers in our classroom cannot tell them apart. They have their own little bond and their twin language, and watching the two of them help each other has been awesome, especially since one of them that is a little bit ahead of the curve, and watching her help her sister write. They both have the same first letter of their first name, so they were working on that together one session, and I just thought it was super sweet to watch.
One of the more hilarious times was I was reading Brown Bear to one of the kids at my center, and each time I was doing it, I'm like, what does the bear say? And be like, "Arr!" And what is it? And I'm at the dog page, and he's like, what do dogs say? And he'd be like, "Woof!" And I'm like, and we got to the teacher page, I'm like, what does the teacher say? And he went, "Shh," which cracked me up. I really enjoyed that. And there's a lot of stories like that, like at my center at the hospital. After I read to them for a while, I taught the kids different games, and then when they came out of the doctor's office, they're like, "Can we play some more?" And that was tons of fun.
And I think this experience will help me in the future because in the business world, you will always work.
As far as teamwork, communication, professionalism, the essential skills of getting a job, it'll help in that way. Also, it's a great thing on your resume. I feel like it's taught me a lot in the past, we'll say, maybe even 2 weeks compared to the past 3 job is what you put into it, and you know, if you just come to session and you just do your activity, you know, every once in a while you might get your heart tugged on by a little kid and that nature, but otherwise you're not going to get much out of it if you don't put much into it. Like, if you're not taking as many hours as you can to make the crafts bigger and better and the sessions more active and things of that nature, and to give bigger, better response to the kids, then
And this will definitely help me out in the future, just reaching out and hopefully like me touching someone and them remembering it. It's just like really empowering.
This will definitely help me in the future to develop my skills in teaching so that I can eventually teach high schoolers math and English.
That being in KidCorps will help me again with, you know, communication skills in the future. Even though you're just talking to 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, you're still learning how to speak to different types of
As
people.
far as my future, I think that my experience here at KidCorps will allow me to be versatile, to work with a number of different age groups from the very young to the very old, because experience is something that goes full circle. You know, if you have experience in one area, it can always contribute and help you to benefit in another area.